You walk into a networking event for the first time. People are talking in small groups. You see a stranger across the room. He looks confident. He stands straight. He smiles while speaking. Before he even says a full sentence, your brain already decides something. He seems trustworthy. But here is the strange part. You don't actually know him. You don't know his past. You don't know his skills. You don't know his character. Yet your brain has already formed an opinion, and it happened in just a few seconds. Now ask yourself something. Have you ever met someone and instantly liked them? Or instantly disliked them? Maybe a new coworker joined your office. Maybe a teacher entered your classroom. Maybe a delivery person knocked at your door. Within moments, your brain made a judgment. Friendly, rude, smart, strange. But how can the brain decide so quickly? The answer reveals a fascinating psychological pattern. Humans are wired to form first impressions almost instantly. And once that impression forms, it becomes very powerful. But why? What hidden logic makes first impressions so strong? Let's explore. Imagine you are walking through a busy airport. Hundreds of people pass by. Your brain cannot analyze every single person carefully. That would take too much time. So the brain uses shortcuts. Psychologists call these shortcuts mental heuristics. They allow us to make quick decisions with limited information. For example, imagine meeting a new doctor. One doctor appears calm, speaks clearly, looks organized. Another doctor seems nervous, talks very fast, avoids eye contact. Even without medical knowledge, your brain instantly prefers one over the other. But here is the truth. The calm doctor might be less skilled. The nervous doctor might be more experienced. Yet your brain still chooses quickly. Why? Because humans evolved in environments where fast judgment meant survival. Thousands of years ago, early humans needed to decide quickly. Friend or enemy? Safe or dangerous? Hesitating too long could be risky. So the brain developed a system that forms impressions rapidly. But in the modern world, that system sometimes makes mistakes, and that leads to surprising outcomes. Imagine a small cafe. A new barista starts working there. One customer walks in. The barista greets him warmly. Good eye contact, relaxed posture, friendly smile. Immediately the customer feels comfortable. He thinks, this place is nice. Now imagine a different situation. The same cafe. Another customer enters. The barista avoids eye contact, speaks very quietly, looks distracted. Suddenly the cafe feels less welcoming. But here is the interesting part. Nothing about the coffee changed. Nothing about the cafe changed. Only the first interaction changed. And that small moment shaped the entire experience. First impressions are strongly influenced by signals like facial expressions, body language, voice tone, clothing, and energy. These signals act like fast information shortcuts. The brain collects them quickly, then builds a story. This person is confident. This person is trustworthy. This person is unfriendly. But the story might not be accurate. It is simply the brain trying to make sense of limited information. Here is where things become even more interesting. Once the brain forms a first impression, it starts protecting it. Imagine a student meeting a new teacher. On the first day, the teacher seems strict, very serious, very quiet. The student immediately thinks, this teacher is harsh. Later, the teacher tells jokes in class. But the student still sees the teacher as strict. Why? Because the brain prefers consistency. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. Once we form an impression, we begin noticing things that support it, and we ignore things that challenge it. This means first impressions can become mental traps. For example, a manager might believe a new employee is lazy. Later, when the employee works hard, the manager barely notices. But if the employee makes one mistake, the manager remembers it strongly. The first impression quietly shapes every future judgment. And that is why first impressions can influence friendships, jobs, business deals, and relationships. All based on moments that lasted only seconds. But here is the powerful realization. Understanding this hidden logic gives you an advantage. Because once you know how first impressions work, you can control them. The hidden logic behind first impressions is simple. Humans want to understand people quickly. Our brains hate uncertainty. So they build quick stories based on small signals. But those stories are not always true. Sometimes the quiet person is the smartest in the room. Sometimes the nervous speaker has the best ideas. Sometimes the confident person knows the least. First impressions are powerful, but they are not permanent truths. The real power comes from awareness. When you meet someone new, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, am I judging too quickly? That simple question can change how you see people and how people see you. Because first impressions are not just accidents. They are signals. Signals you can shape. A smile, a calm voice, a confident posture. Small changes can completely transform how others perceive you. And once you understand this hidden logic, you begin noticing it everywhere. In meetings, in interviews, in friendships, even in everyday conversations. And if you want to keep learning the psychology patterns that shape everyday life, subscribe to Hidden Logic today and explore the ideas most people never notice.